Only in stature, my friend.
Well, welcome everybody.
Oops.
I want to thank the people from the city for coming and joining us this morning. Gives us an opportunity to discuss things that maybe we can do together to make our community and our county better. So we're starting off with the Highway 29 South reconstruction from 8th to 50th Avenue. And who was going to talk about that? Was Marty, were you going to give us an update? I think we all pretty much know what it is, but.
Yeah, do you want me to have a microphone or does it not matter to you all?
I can hear you.
I think she's got a portable one right there.
I don't think it's working.
Yeah, it is.
No.
You should talk.
Hello? Oh, yeah, it is. It is.
Thank you, Commissioner Rapp. Good morning, Council and Commissioners. I'll just talk briefly, and then if you have any detailed questions, I can refer you to our Public Works Director, Brian Navarro, who knows a lot more than I do. But I think some of you may be aware that we had a municipal consent hearing at our last council meeting on April 13th. That's a required process that MnDOT has for certain types of road construction projects. So that really was the first step, is to hold that hearing. The council took comments from the public and then tabled any action on that until a future date. The way the timelines work with the state process, as we talked about previously at the council meeting, is the city, in order to meet the timelines, will need to take some sort of action, either affirmative or asking MnDOT to make some adjustments by June 22nd. And then there's a process that we laid out in our council packet in the memo as to kind of how that works going forward. The state and city staff have been working toward holding individual meetings with property owners along that corridor. I think we're just about hit all the property owners, but there are still some that are in the process of meeting with. That's kind of where things stand process-wise. Construction is still planned, as it has been for the last several years since MnDOT started talking about this project, as a 2028 construction project. And again, in generally speaking, it's a full reconstruction from 8th to 18th, and then an overlay from 18th to 50th. If there are any other questions on the project, I'll defer on the details to Brian. Thank you.
Marty, I got a question. I was at the city council meeting and you guys had tabled it. What is your next step in the meantime, or what do you mean by tabling it, and what you're going to do moving forward?
Thank you, Commissioner Schmidt. So our plan is to go through a detailed review with the state and the council together at a future work session. I think we were talking about, was it May 11th? Yeah.
Okay.
So we'll kind of go through, I mean, we've seen high-level overviews and talked about it a few times over the last couple of years, but the council would like to really delve into the details at a kind of a roll the map over the table and look through it, just to make sure, I think, and I won't speak for the council members, but really want to understand the impacts as much as possible, the changes, the adjustments, what that might mean, ask MnDOT questions, so when we do make when the council makes a decision as a city, they, I think, feel as well informed as they can. I hope you guys can all chime in as well. Thank you, Shane.
Anybody else got any questions on it? Chair?
So I just wanted to bring this up, and I know some of the businesses that would be affected if this gets done, and if that new median causes any hardship on businesses, I mean, what kind of considerations is the city going to be able to do to not impact them? I mean, like, are they thinking about taking out the driveways that say go to the coffee pot? Are those going to be eliminated? They'll still remain two.
I don't think that's in the design. They leave both of them, but there will be a change.
The main thing is the direction of traffic being flown in and out. So the biggest concern for the coffee pot and Mike's In and Out, as an example, is if you're heading from the south going north, there's a median in the way and you can't turn left into
Right.
that driveway.
Yep,
It's a problem for them.
yep.
So there's a few of those pressure points or concerning points that I think the city council maybe is hoping that we can have a conversation with MnDOT about and try to address those points to try to get some kind of compromise. Ultimately, I'm not sure how much leverage we have, but try to use what we can.
Well, if they had to come in on Fillmore, okay, so if they would have to backtrack around Fillmore, then if they were, say, you know, the Pizza Ranch, I don't think the Pizza Ranch wants that traffic coming through their driveway to get to there. So, I mean, would that be an option that could be done, or would that not be possible?
I think it remains to be seen. You know, I think a lot of these points that, because I've had business people reach out to me, I'm sure others have too. A lot of these things seem just kind of common sense and logical, but I don't know that we've really had enough time to kind of get in depth with the logic that you know, their main thing is safety.
I hear you there, and there used to be a alley that was in the back of what was the old coffee pot. It's now like a car rental. I mean, is there anything that would reopen that alley to access the coffee pot?
I don't believe that's been brought up. If Brian wants to talk about that.
Yeah, if I may here, please. Brian Uvaro, Public Works Director, City of Alexandria. Thanks for having us. In regards to the coffee pot, I think there's two things other than the access controls. We did meet with them. We might make some modifications. But I think the other concern was access during construction is how I understood it. And that's something we're going to work with MnDOT, of course, to provide access to the maximum extent practical, either through Fillmore or what have you. But that was, I think, the other concern I heard from that business owner.
Okay, I did see that house directly in back of the coffee pot has been taken down. And Pizza Ranch bought that?
That's my understanding. I don't know that any of us really know unless someone speaks up what the plan is there. My assumption is a parking lot, but have you heard that? No. Yeah.
All right, thank you.
And whether or not he would allow access to the coffee pot.
Exactly,
remains
exactly.
to be seen, but
Yep,
hopefully they'd figure something neighborly out there.
And Jerry, we talked to them on an overall plan on the intersection, but we've not had a chance to sit down with individual, and that was our intent coming up here, so we can look at each individual one and address it.
Kind of each individual block or
Great.
pressure point, so to
All right,
speak.
thank you.
Mr. Chair, I got a comment on this. I don't know how much time you guys spend in St. Cloud, but every time I go to St. Cloud, they got the medians there. The people come out, they go down, make a left turn, a U-turn, and come back down the other street. And I think if that happens on Main Street, we're going to have a lot of issues and a lot of accidents of people who come down because they can't get there. They make a U-turn right on Main Street. And that's one thing I think they should take into consideration, because you aren't going to stop the people from doing that.
All right. Any other questions on the project? I know I was at city council. The city's going to look into it and see if they can come up with some answers, so we'll leave it in your hands. Thank you.
Thank you.
Tim Erickson, you want to come up and talk about the roundabout at County Road 46 and Pioneer Road, please? And the mic is over there. Thank you.
We get along. So our roundabout project over at Pioneer and County Road 46, we're at about 90% plans right now. So we've got the layout is all set up. We've gone through drainage. We think we've got drainage where it's going to work. We're at the point where our original contract with our consultant is to have final plans in June. We're on pace to have that. Our next step with that, we'll take our plans, we're going to reach out and do some utility coordinating, talk with ALP, ALASD, talk with whoever else is out there, because if there needs to be some utilities that are moved, we're going to try to do it all at the same time. So much like what we did with County Road 46 last summer, where ALP, ALASD had some quantities in our plan, it's all led under one contract. We work those out. So We'll actually have just under a year to coordinate all of that with them because our intention is construction in 2027, and we'll be ready for it.
Yeah, well, you're right away.
I believe we do. We're looking at a couple of ideas that may or may not require a little bit more, but we can fit everything inside the existing right-of-way.
Tim, I got a question too. Are you going to be doing some of the sidewalk at that time too, or
Yes.
are you going to go all the way from ALP down there, or what's your plans when that? I know you're working on it.
Yep. So for the city's benefit, we also have an active transportation grant that we acquired to make a 10-foot shared use walking path from the tracks all the way over to the existing roundabout, all the way north on McKay to where the pedestrian tunnel is at Woodland. That is scheduled for 2028. The thought is, if we're going to be in this corridor anyway next summer, if we can construct some of that a year early and just get the reimbursement the following year, we're going to try to. So we're going to get those plans put together as well in with our roundabout. Depending on where the funding comes in, what the costs come in at, we can always take those out and do it under the 2028 project, or we can put them into this one as well and then essentially float the contract, for lack of a better term, and get the reimbursement in 28.
Any questions for Tim?
Is that path going to be on the east side, then going all the way to Woodland?
We're looking at that right now. My intention is yes, to put it on the east side from the existing
Then connect
roundabout.
to the tunnel?
From the existing roundabout to the tunnel, we would put it on my intention is on the east side. We're looking at how we can do that. Because we do have room on the west side as well. We could put it on either. But
So then at ALP, that's on the north side. So how are you
Correct.
going to cross over when you get over there?
the roundabout.
What if they get stuck in there?
The ped ramps at the roundabout.
Sorry. Anybody else got any questions for Tim on that? All right, thank you, Tim. We'll move on. Farmers Market and Big Ole Park drainage. I don't know who wants to speak on it. Jeff?
I can speak on that.
Okay, thank you.
You know, my wife is the vendor at the Alexandria Farmers Market, which is coming up pretty soon. And Bill Franzine was one of the customers, but we've been working together on what can we do to improve on the market area, because every time when it rains, it's like a mud. And so what can we do to make it better? And are we making any progress on that, Mr. Bill?
Thank you, Jeff. Brian, I'm going to divert this to you, and he'll have all the details.
Yes, good morning again. Yes, Bill Tennis, Street Department Supervisor, and myself met with a representative from the farmers market a few weeks ago. There has been some ideas about doing some paving improvements there. In the past, there was like a considerable area they wanted to pave, but as we went through the conversation a little bit more with this individual, we're looking to do maybe a 9 to 10 foot path. And we're going to meet with this individual again, but basically offset from the Central Lakes Trail, some odd distance, and constructing a ramp there too as well, where it meets the parking lot exit. Working on, like I said, the estimates and everything. Either we might do it in-house or have to hire somebody up. Depends on the pricing for the asphalt paving and everything. But that's kind of where we're at with that right now.
Okay.
So we're looking schedule-wise, maybe something early summer here.
Okay.
So.
All right. Thank you.
And I just, if I could, as we know, the drainage is not very good there as well. So this path may help with a little bit of drainage, but it's still going to be, unless that entire area with some storm sewer is installed, this paving this path will be an improvement, but it's not going to correct all the drainage there, as we're aware.
And Brian, my understanding is that they're going to change the curbing so that it'd be more handicap accessible in that area.
That is correct.
And Jeff, I think there's also going to be some financial contribution from the farmers market to participate in this project.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
It's tough to run the ADA and get the water out of there if you're going to do storm sewer. changing the curve, but plus you get half the water from the other half of town. That's where it all goes on a good rain.
All right.
Mr. Chair, just a
Go ahead.
question. You know, there was talk about it going to the old Kmart shopping center. Wasn't there talk about that?
If there wasn't an alternative to avoid the mud, but the farmer's market has been there in that location for over 20 years, I guess, you know, and I guess, you know, it's just looking at the customer base, you know, on a Saturday, a lot of people know this is where to go, and so we like to stay there, and what can we do to make some improvements on the ground? And so there you have it.
Okay, thanks.
All right. Any more questions on that? All right, we're going to move on to public storm shelter locations. And Julie, our emergency manager, was going to discuss that this morning.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and members of the City Council and commissioners. So this is something that I know we've all wanted for a long time, and I'm excited that we are almost there. So I just created a very quick draft of some messaging that we might hand out to those that we're trying to target for this sheltering. And certainly many people in this room have worked on this. We've met at the RCC and with all of you for using our lower level entrance to the library for this. So the bottom line would be that the doors, the exterior doors that ultimately take you to the library would be open during a tornado warning. We have a Knox box, Jeff, that did arrive, so we just need to coordinate getting the keys for that, and then we'd have electronic ability as well. And then the goal for that would be mainly residents living above businesses in or near downtown, or residents and visitors nearby who have no other shelter. The Prime West Health Runestone Community Center, again, we've talked with Vinny and Marty and others working on getting keys, right, for opening that up only when the National Weather Service has declared a tornado warning. And like we talked about, it's open so much anyway, and there's a lot of room in there. But the goal would really be for residents of nearby mobile home parks, RV parks, campgrounds, and resorts without adequate shelter. And then I did talk to Vinny about having it for passengers on Rainbow Rider, because Brenda has asked, where could we pull over if there was a sudden severe storm, or when it's open anyway. And so, again, this is just a draft, but it would be something that I'd like to hand out once we finalize it to these impacted folks. Not, you know, we really hope that the general public would be welcome, but that they pick a preparedness pal, and if they don't have a basement, make some kind of plan. But we have quite a bit of room, but probably not enough for the entire city that doesn't have shelter. So open for discussion on that.
Mr. Chair, I guess when the armory got sold, and that was taken out of the equation as a public building, is that, did it cause any problems?
I did speak, so that, yeah, I did speak to the new owners, and reception sounded encouraging, but we don't have any sort of final agreement yet. So if we do get that, then I'll add it to this. So thank you.
That'd be a good spot to try and hold on to. You can always get a Knox box there too.
Right, and they had talked about the back access. So yep, we're in active conversation.
Okay.
Julie,
Yes.
my understanding too is that the RCC is also deemed as a morgue in relation to.
That's in the plan, yes, if we have a mass casualty.
Yep, and then the other thing I think of importance too is that we're working towards getting a generator for that facility in the
Right.
event, but it could be a triage center for a larger event. And I think you have been speaking with Vinnie Marty on that as well?
Yes, so it's a facility that I think could provide a number of opportunities, and Jeff and I as well, and Chief Kent, right, would love to make more use of that should we ever need it.
And that would be a county and city project, I would hope.
I agree.
Julie, what happens, so to get access in an event, does someone have to physically go there to open the doors?
So here, we do have some folks that can electronically open them. There's a couple of folks that have that ability for our doors. But then Jeff, with the Knox box, the firefighters would come and open it. I have a card key. So again, it would be who gets here first to open that up. And then with the RCC, Marty and Jeff chime in, or Scott, you know, it's open a lot, but if it's 2 in the morning,
I mean, we also have the ability to open it electronically or remotely with the access system there as well, in addition to staff having keys and emergency response having keys as well. So we'll try to have kind of multiple redundancy in place to get that open as soon as possible.
and not too often do we have a tornado warning that just pops up. It can happen, but often we're in a heightened alert. We are in tornado watch, and so it will be rare if something just so suddenly occurs that we're scrambling. I mean, we should be able to do this in most instances with a little bit of a plan.
So is there a baseline risk level that triggers opening it?
So right now we have it as when the National Weather Service declares a tornado warning. Just so there's no confusion, would I love to see that, especially during the day. If we have a high wind event probability, I think common sense will come into play. But for those folks, it's really when that tornado warning has been issued. And hopefully I can help educate the RV campground owners and resort owners and just get it in their head that please tell your folks during the tornado watch or the common sense of an elevation by the National Weather Service, be ready to go. Thankfully they were that Memorial Day. Most of the folks left early because they saw the elevated risk. So people are pretty aware. But the actual trigger will be that warning.
Thanks. Hey, Jeff, is there a Knox box at the RCC? So you can get in there if you need to? Okay. Any other questions? All right, thanks, Julie.
You bet.
We're going to move on to the Fire District EMS. Is that you, Bill, and Jeff? We're going to discuss that today?
Well, I've been the one that's brought it up, and I guess Jeff has provided a lot of material, which I think is very important in this, and he's going to share that. And you know, my personal overall concern is that we be proactive rather than reactive. We're on a volunteer basis with all these departments, and as you well know, it's easier to get money than volunteers. So these people do a wonderful job. They need our support, and I think Jeff can elaborate on what he's provided here.
Okay, thank you, Chair. At the last meeting, this is loud. You did task me with getting some information on a creation of the fire district, combining departments. Attached on your table is a 2-page memo of pros and cons, and then there's a Haas alert. It's a new system we have on our fire trucks. We have it on the first due, 22, 28, 30, and 27. It's just in its infancy, so we only have been getting a good run the last 3 months. Right now, it shows our year-to-date time to scene is 4.5 minutes, and average time is 5.6 this last month. What I did, I can tell you this, there's 30 fire districts in the state, Cloquet, Breezy Point, Pequot Lakes. Isanti, you know, Chair, you had told me to contact them. I have a lot of emails. I have a lot of documents. I chose not to print them out for you all. So you have the pros and cons. I will tell you, in January, the Douglas County Chiefs Association met for 2 hours and discussed this concept or this thought and idea. There's 11 departments in the county. At that point, I can tell you right now there is no county fire department that is in favor of a creation of a fire district. Some of the things that we ended up discussing are some possible pitfalls, upfront costs. When I spoke to Cloquet, they didn't realize that it would cost $3 million to rebrand and I know the chair and I talked the other day. It could be done over time, but it was a $3 million cost to rebrand vinyl on every truck, all the signs on the stations, all the t-shirts, all your gear and so forth. Let's see. Also, when you look at the equipment, all these fire districts, and this is where you take a $1.2 million aerial and you literally just give it to this new district. You don't get paid for the equipment. All the participating departments, they donate every single piece of equipment to this new fire district. The fire stations are on a leased basis. Granted, it's like $1 or something like that. It's very low lease or rent. But one of the other big things is, since the city would no longer be providing a fire service and the county would not be providing a fire service, this fire board is through elected people that are put on these fire boards. So you really do lose your control. Some of the other things that I wasn't aware of or I didn't think of, you end up, since it's a new fire district in charge of the fire service, you actually create a small city, HR, legal, tax collector, I guess, or something like that, fleet management, who takes care of all this equipment and stuff. You end up, because it's not a city personnel doing it, and it's not county personnel doing it, it becomes its own little city to do that through these 30. Now, there is benefits to a district, but through my lens, I guess what I would say is it's more for the first responders, the medical calls, and it's 3-to-1 on all these districts that are running medical calls, which almost is dead mate to Douglas County. For instance, Carlos had 25 fire calls, 75 medical calls. Freda had 3 fire calls and they had over 60 medical calls. So I think, it's more on the medical side that they're looking. The good thing right now is in the House legislation, there's House Bill 4723, which would allow or put first responders, EMRs, EMTs into the Fire Relief Association. So they're looking at that. Also there's another bill in the House right now, 4724, that will allow the Relief Association, the vesting, you know how we have it at 20 years, your 10 years or 60%. The bill would allow fire departments and reliefs to go to fully vested at 10 years. So those 2 bills are right now in the House. Let me see what else. One of the big things that, and I don't know the answer, and I know one of the things the Douglas County Chiefs talked about, the relief pension is a big deal to these volunteers. We all had the question, and does this district just pay everybody out at their current rate? Alexander's at 10,000, Freda's at 1,800, Garfield or Carlos at 3,000. Where is that pension? Do you pay them out and say, okay, you start at 0 again? Because you might have a Wilmer situation like there was at one time. That I don't know. Most of these go into a para then. They get converted to para, these reliefs. And most of these fire districts end up putting on more full-time people than volunteers. now, not a whole lot, but 7 to 20 full-time firefighters are put on. I do know it also depends, the service isn't really changing a whole lot, but it may increase the, you know, everybody's having this tax for this fire district. Pequot Lakes wanted to do the same thing up by Breezy Point up there. It ended up costing all the citizens of Pequot Lakes way more than starting their own fire department. No. So, so that's just my tip of the infancy type, trying to get you guys information, so.
I know a little bit about the Relief Association.
Yes.
I was wondering, how did they, the proposals, and I hadn't heard about that, so I was wondering how they were funding it. If we're talking about changing it to a full vestment at 10 or instead of 20 and so on, are they gonna change the 1.5% fire protection?
I'm not sure what they're doing. I think the 10-year vesting that's in the bill right now, that's been a year or so, I think. I think what was there, it would affect 440 relief associations. You can choose, and yeah, oh yeah. I know we had a meeting with the relief officers and trustees. We are still gonna stay at the 10 and 20 for vesting. At this point, we're not moving to the 10. It allows your fire department to do that. But also that creates liabilities for that relief association, because now you have like, oh gosh, in 20 years, you have 10 years. It could be kind of a sticky wicket, because you could have older guys saying, well, I was here 16 years, I'm going now, but I want the full vestment and stuff like that.
Doesn't that also hurt your volunteers that are gonna leave earlier?
You may have some of that. We have seen, like, and I'll just take Alec Fire. So during your guys' tenure, the average year of service, I did the numbers, was 13, almost 14 years of service. Because you know, you got the onesie twosies, and then you got the, like you guys, the 25, 26 years. Going now, as of a year ago, that has dropped to 9 and basically about 10 years.
Yeah.
So.
You see that coming.
But that's going to be the way it is. So currently we have a full department, and we have 6 on a waiting list. So.
I see you're advertising again.
That's our strategic, because we're doing it every year now in April. So we're just going to keep putting people, so we're not like, oh, let's wait 2-3 years and try. Okay. We are trying to keep our manpower bucket
because sometimes you see it, you think you're short, but that makes sense.
No, it's a strategic advertising recruiting.
Jeff, do they understand that a lot of them they're not losing their fire department? The district just strengthens. I mean, we end up with paid people that can make runs. I'm talking about the Evansvilles or I mean, like you said, there's nobody in favor of the district right now in our area.
No, not at this time.
Well,
But the medical, like you said, the first responders is the most important part of their world.
Yeah.
It's not even the fires, but which is the most important, but it's the same. And if we could get them on an equal playing field with the reliefs and get them into the relief
That's what they need to do.
association, so I think there's a good way to fix that.
And the other thing we have is mutual aid contracts.
Yes.
We're all set up between each fire department, so if they need help, they can call in Alec or whomever they need at that moment.
We got called in the last, I don't know, twice already to Ferreda. You're right. The one thing I think that the county departments are ahead of, all the fire departments are combining their first responders and already doing some type of relief ahead of this. There's one department that isn't yet. There's still 2 separate identities, but they're making strides to that. So my knee-jerk thing would, if you are looking at a district, I would look more on a first responder medical district versus fire, because it's still going to be the same response and coverage, if that makes sense.
Mr. Chair, could I just make a comment?
Yeah.
Kind of echoing what Jeff said, this legislation with vesting is interesting to follow. I just got a notification on it yesterday. It is, we talk about the liability for the fire relief associations if you go to 10. Well, that trickle downs to cities because as you guys know, there's a required contribution that cities have to make if relief associations financial levels that are at a certain place. So if that becomes a mandate or something like that, there will be concerns about not only the solvency of relief associations having to go to 10, but also what cities would have to chip in order to get there. And then the other thing I would just add is, Jeff has done a great job of kind of talking to the fire departments. We've chatted about it. I reached out to some cities our size to kind of get their perspectives on this as well. The Bemidji's, the Brainards, the Fergus Falls, the usual cities we look at. And one observation that I would have about the fire districts, and Jeff kind of touched on this, is the ones that exist, sometimes there's a key driver that got them started. Maybe it was the medical response issue. Maybe there's an issue where there's a feeling where there's inequity between two cities that are sharing, or one's paying for more, or townships. So as we go forward, I think it's really important to be vigilant and have these conversations, because as Councilmember Franzine noted, things can change quickly. And we look at, as we talk about our model and all volunteer department, if we end up needing to go to a different kind of model, Bemidji has, I think, 7 or 8 or 9 full-time staff. You're talking about quadrupling the budget for the fire department as it stands, and that's a big number to look at in the future. We're not there, but we need to be aware of those options, how to best serve the county, and to kind of stay on top of this and monitor it, look at what the trends are. I think the cities that I talked to said there are benefits as well, and Jeff laid these out as well, that can be had with a fire district. Certainly if you have a taxing district, that kind of spreads the financial impact. But as Jeff said, the administrative things that have to happen in the background, we're confident we can still fight the fires and provide the protection, I think, places that have gone to a district, but it's how do you deal with HR issues when they come up? Who's handling those kind of administrative things in the background? And those are just things you have to figure out and be cognizant of as you move forward. So, thank you.
The pension relief part of that, they're still using that. It's time to rewrite some of that. Some of them have on that, in Minnesota, other than that formula has been around since about 78, so damn near 50 years now, the way, take a little bit of Gus Welch, a little bit of the old formula, and I think we could come up with a better way to do it, and you still do it instead of run money, but in similar situations. People making 300, 400 calls a year shouldn't be on the same basis with somebody making 20 calls.
Mr. Chair.
Go ahead, Bill.
You mentioned trigger, somebody mentioned the trigger. Trigger really is what's happened out in Carlos. They have a need, they put it forth, they got their figures back, there was going to be an assessment made to those people out there. It was huge. This isn't the only one that's, there's going to be more to it. The protection is very necessary, the equipment is very necessary, and I'm sure they're required to have and maintain certain levels of equipment in each of these places. And in looking at that is, ALEC has got good equipment, and ALEC either sells their equipment to a department within our area, or it goes outside of our area. And the reciprocal part of it is that it can go to Leaf Valley or some of these places without enduring that cost. The HR component to it, I question who's their HR person in Leaf Valley? Who's their who is it in Vreda? I don't know. Are they coming to the county for that? Those services. So I guess the big thing that I see right now is that this conversation is excellent, and going forward and uncovering some of these things, we can all find, when we talk to other departments in other areas, yeah, this isn't the way we thought it was, this isn't good, but we're learning, we're understanding, and that's the purpose behind it. And I want, because this obviously will go out to the medias, and by no means, I want to say this isn't being pressured. This is more about a conversation. I understand it's a brotherhood, it's very territorial, and they want to keep their grounds. But knowledge is key in this. And Jeff, again, thank you for preparing this, and I think, Marty, as you said, let's keep going down this path, because whether it's us involved, but it might be the next group of people coming forward, at least we have some conversation, excuse me, that's happened, so, thank you.
My comment to you, Bill, is I just wanted to say is that where part of the issue is going to come in is these are all city-owned fire departments. So if you're going to get involved, other than Leaf Valley, which is going to be more of a township, or they're going to have their own identity, so that if that's ever going to happen, you're going to have to get the cities involved. And a lot of them have their own HR, their own people that are administrating and overseeing their fire departments. I think the conversation's still great. I'm not going to take that away from him. I think it's still good always to have it. It's just something we talk about. Maybe it don't happen next year. Maybe it happens 20 years from now. But at least we got our feet forward. We're getting our feet wet. We can start looking into it. It can be a win-win. But the one thing about the Douglas County Fire Departments, they got their stuff together. They do a good job. They all know what they're doing. I mean, I served for 20-some years as well and talked to them, sat on the chiefs. They all kind of want their own identity and doing their own thing, but I still think it's a great conversation piece. And Jeff, I got one more question. So if they decide you can go 10 years to be fully vested, you can decline not to do that.
At this point, the relief associations can opt out.
Really?
Yes.
So why are they, to me, that don't make even sense why they're even dealing with it down there then? Why don't they just let you guys decide if you want to go one way or the other?
I'm not. I mean, do you want?
St. Paul, control your life,
Yep.
okay?
All right.
Shane, I can, if you want me, I can dive deep.
Nope. We don't want to be here all day. Sorry, Jeff.
Mr. Chair, yeah, so Mr. Carroll, just one more question on Carlos. Is there been any talk at all between Alec and Carlos as far as making some kind of a merge for fire responding?
No.
Nope. Okay, thanks.
All right, we're good? Cannabis update. So Marty, what we're looking for there, I would assume it's you or Mike, we just want to know where we're at. How many have you given out? What you're doing?
I'm going to defer to our in-house cannabis expert, Mike Weber.
I kind of figured that's where you're going.
Why is he an expert?
I don't know, that got my attention. Yeah. So we're going to refer this to Brian Yavero for, we appreciate Brian's involvement in almost everything. Presently we have 2 cannabis retailers that are open in the city of Alexandria. We have another 3 that are seeking registration. They've gotten pre-approval for their license from the State Office of Cannabis Management. They have to go through the registration process with the city and then get their actual license approval after their buildings have been modified, their security systems are in place, those kinds of things. We've issued a handful of conditional use permits for cultivation or for packaging and manufacturing in the city. Those are not retail locations, those are more on the industrial, we'll call it the industrial side of the cannabis world. So if you have a specific question, I'm happy to try and answer it, but those are kind of at the high level. We've got 2 that are in operation, another 2 or 3 that are in the hopper, so to speak. I will say that those 2 or 3 have not progressed much beyond submitting the actual application for registration with the city.
Are they waiting on construction? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, so we have 3 people who have to sign off on each of these cannabis registrations. One's the fire chief, one is the building official, and one is me. We have a zoning piece, we have a fire piece, and a building code piece. The 3 that are still in the process have yet to submit any building plans. So we haven't even had a plan to review, much less inspections to do. Those building plans will incorporate the state required and the city required closed circuit television system, which every one of the retailers has to have designed and installed to the OCM specifications. And that's the zoning piece that I sign off on. So, and Mike Schmidt, as the building official, can't sign off until the work is permitted, inspected, and final inspected.
Get our 4 and we're good, yeah. Anybody, any questions? Yeah, appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Mike, are the 3
Yes, yep. Retail sales, yep. Three adult use cannabis retail sales.
Just for the benefit of the group, so slightly different, the county will not register a sales business until they have a perfected license from the state. So we've got a little, and right now I don't think there's any sort of race going on, but you know, if the city issues a registration and they don't have a perfected license, and someone in the county comes forward, has a perfected license and registers, great. They can get a registration from the county. If the city, you know, if those other, two of those other three businesses get registered and have a perfected license from the state, then that's it. There's only 4 registrations that the county needs to see, and then we're done providing registrations in the county for adult cannabis retail sales, not for local and medical size of different category.
Any other questions? Thank you. Next on the agenda, we're going to talk about dog leash issues in the county and city parks. That's one of the things I had put on there because I got a phone call from somebody out at Brophy Park, and he just about wiped out on his bike. And if something happened, he was pretty adamant about all the dogs that are run around on the trail, on the county parks, wherever it may be, and including the city down by Big Ole on all those trails, that there's a lot of people that are out there and their dogs are not leashed. And if they are leashed, they let them go out on a 20-foot leash and they can't control them, and bikes have ran into them. So we've been talking with Dave about getting a compliance officer, and part of that thing was about having somebody around to start watching it. My conversation went to Bill, and him and I were talking one day about this, and maybe there's something we can work together with the city and county to start implementing something on dogs that are not on a leash. So David, if you can give us an update where we're at with that, with the compliance officer.
Yeah, at this point, we've got 2 job descriptions that our HR person, Lee Kazmarek, has put together. One of them, and I have one, and we just have to reconcile those. And then in terms of those responsibilities, we've got to get with Brad Bunk because there's some park responsibilities there. And I think there could be some alignment on that. We'd have to have a discussion with the city about how that would work. Obviously, the staff person that we're hiring is not a law enforcement person. So I think it would be, I think we would call them a compliance enforcement person. But certainly they could do some oversight of these parks. And if we are, you know, just informing people, that's one thing. If we're looking to hand out citations, then that might take it to a different level that we'll have to have some conversations with Scott if that's something we're doing with the city or obviously the county attorney or sheriff's office. So those are possibilities. It just helps having that staff person be able to be out there and spend that time to do that. It is a difficult issue though. You have to see the dog, you have to find out who it belongs to. It's a little different if the person is in the park walking their, I say walking, letting their dog loose but is present, then we could probably get that figured out pretty quickly. But
Well, as long as Brad's here, Brad, you can tell us what the rules are in our parks, please.
Yeah, so there's supposed to be on-leash dogs. We don't have a dog park in the county, and to be a dog park, it'd have to be an off-leash dog park. It'd have to be fully fenced to legally call it a dog park. So unless you're going to chain link fence a big area, it's on leash. We've been fighting the 11 years I've been here, and nothing. We've used a bullhorn at Brophy because you can see a long ways. So we will watch people get out of the car with their dog on a leash, walk up in the hills and undo the leash on the dog and let the dog run. And we've bullhorned people like to shame them to put the dog back on the leash. Like, we see you, put your dog back on the leash. Those same people will come back the next week and do it again. And unless you have somebody there at all, at some point we just have to go do our jobs. And I don't know what to do. I mean, outside of having, I know the sheriff's department has a lot better things to do than write tickets for people who have their dogs off leash, but that might be what it takes to change people's opinion on it.
Well, my response back to David is then we got to put teeth in it. So whether you get a citation and they get fined, we got to do something because it's gotten bad, and especially with the bikers out there. They're doing those mountain bikes, and they got dogs running on the trails while they're trying to mountain bike.
Yeah, Brophy and Kensington. Kensington's almost worse because there's trees and you can't see what's coming around the corner. And people do the same thing there. But Brophy there's just a lot more people there, so a lot more incidents. The one nice thing is you have vision there, but you can see it. It's like slow motion coming to a crash.
Brad, Bill?
So Shane, we're talking about dogs now on leash, but is this compliance person also, as we learned last week, we have no compliance in our VRBOs? We have no really compliance in our land permits going out. There's nobody following up to make sure that, you got a permit for 50 feet of whatever.
Correct.
So are you thinking more of a broader?
Correct. That's what he'll do. That's what he's putting the job description together for. It'll be on VRBOs, land permit issues, some other things that we've been talking about. He hasn't got it all quite together. I haven't seen it yet.
No, it'll cover a variety of zoning compliance issues. We have been having conversations with Horizon Public Health, who does the VRBO registrations, trying to get a better handle on what their responsibilities would be and what the zoning department's responsibilities would be. And then there's a myriad of other issues that take a tremendous amount of time to get compliance. And we could have this staff person do it rather than some of our other staff people that are working on things like septic systems and feedlots and new construction and so on.
And the same thing what Dave was saying is if we're going to put something together and put teeth in it, then we got to start making ordinances that allow us to do that. Is that what you were saying?
Well, the ordinances exist. I think there's a few things that need to be changed in terms of the ability to enact enforcement.
Okay.
When you're in violation of our ordinance, it's a misdemeanor. I don't know that serves us well to start taking everybody to court, because the court system is slow and expensive on our part. I think we need to do a little more investigating in terms of abatement. I know the city can do abatements. There is a process involved there, but you can probably move a little faster with abatement than you can through standard court system. In the end, really, compliance ultimately is about trying to convince people that they need to follow the rules. Many people, a simple letter and as Brad pointed out, a little bit of shaming, and they follow the rules and they step in line. There's other people where you're going to spend a lot of time trying to get them to comply, and those are the ones that really just take all of our time. So.
Well, my thing is I want to get going on this dog thing, because I've got people who called and said they won't even go on the trail anymore. It's gotten that bad out there. It's a free-for-all for dogs to do whatever they want to do out there. Then let the dog owners, I should say. So I'd like to get that speeded up.
Chairman, just one other note, just quantify the problem that's out there. Commissioner Rapp and I attended a summit last Friday out at Arrowwood. Viking Sportsman and Minfish put on, and they had representation from the DNR, but even they said when it comes to aquatic vegetation, they're handing out permits and nobody's following up with it, and it's significant. So it's not just in our county, it's throughout the state, and they're having the same problems. So
Well, I think we're heading in the right direction. We're going to try and move with it. Okay, anything else on that subject? Tim, you got the floor again. Talk about McKay and 46 roadwork update. And as long as you're doing that, let's talk about the bridge replacement on Highway 29 as well.
All right, I'm going to come up front because I like
Thank you.
I like talking face to face with you guys. So I think last time I talked with the city council, about a month and a half ago, I was there, we talked about a shared use path that's going in on McKay from the Central Lakes Trail all the way north, going up just shy of State Highway 29. You'll see in the board packet later this morning, we're gonna get authorization to advertise for bids for that project. Would be opening bids mid-May, and depending on how that all goes, construction would be scheduled probably July, August. There will be a completion date on that. It's late August. I want to say the 28th, so I will say the 28th. I'm not positive on that, but I believe it's the 28th. We want it done
Wrote
before
it down.
school. Okay, Shane wrote it in pen, so it's going to be the 28th. Our intention is for that to be done before school starts. We want to be done with that whole project. When they come through and do that, the southbound lane will actually be all blocked off as a construction zone. So southbound is going to be detoured into the center turn lane. There will be brakes in all of our cones, our traffic control, all that, so that we can still get people where they need to go. It's going to be tight, but we're talking 2 months. And when all is said and done, we're going to have a pretty good end result. Anything else on that project that
You make any questions on that?
touch on? Okay. The bridge, since you had asked about that as well, that is currently the box culvert that's between Lake Geneva, Lake Lahamadou on Trunk Highway 29. As a quick background, the Lake Association had talked with Representative Mary Franson. She got money coming to the county to replace that. Really, we're making that box culvert, where right now you struggle with clearance as you're trying to go from the Geneva side to the Lahamadou side. We're going to replace that with a actual bridge. Our initial plans, because that money needs to be spent, I think I told the county board, I thought we had to have that at least under contract by the end of fiscal year 2027 for the state. I thought we had to have it under contract by essentially July 1. We actually have to have the funds spent by December 31, 2027. So we knew it was 27, it needed to be done. We were always aiming for 2026 for construction, just because there's a slew of state approvals that have to happen with this. They're the eventual owner of this bridge. We are behind in our process, and I'm going to, I can throw blame all over the place, but it was going through that state process. So where we're at right now, there is a chance that we can have final plans by the end of May. If we do have those final plans by the end of May and we have all our approvals to go forward, we'll try to build this thing August, September, October of 2026. But May is coming pretty quick. So there's a very good chance that we end up building this in construction year 2027. Again, those funds don't need to be spent until the end of the year, so we don't risk losing those funds, is the important part. With that project, our official detour, as you're coming southbound on Highway 29, we'll get them at Carlos Corners. We're going to take them in on County Road 46, bring them all the way in or 42, excuse me, not 46. Yeah, you would have caught me. County Road 42, we'll bring them all the way around where they come back in on Highway 29 is at the Holiday Station. So we're using the old Trunk Highway 29 as our detour. Local traffic will not use that. They're going to find their way around anywhere else. But we're at least planning, if we can at least get the trucks out of the local roads and at least following this, it's better than nothing.
You'll have some take Geneva Road.
I would imagine some will take, well, they'll do that once, because then where Geneva Road is going to hit McKay, they're going to have a fun time trying to get onto McKay.
Go down Birch.
Just like school, yeah. So that's where we're at with that project. We just had a meeting yesterday afternoon, so we're coordinating getting our final approvals when those are already through our MnDOT district. We'll also have to coordinate getting those through the state bridge office.
You'll think you'll get somebody to bid on it this late? Yeah.
My understanding is that there's not a lot of bridge work out there right now.
Okay, well, that's good.
And so if that actually is correct, we could have somebody bidding on it yet. If I was betting, we're probably building this in 2027 at this point.
All right. Anybody got any
We're still
questions
gonna
for
push.
Tim?
Yeah, just a comment, Mr. Chair. I think too, once if that road closes, or 29, that at Jim and Judy's intersection there, they'll take 5 over to 34 and come down 34.
They may.
I can just
I can see that.
expect that happen. Yeah. All right.
Yeah, correct.
Thanks. Douglas County Fairgrounds plat. Who's speaking on that? Is that you?
It's me again.
Go for it.
This is like building the ark. We've been working on this with the Fair Board, the county, and the city for a long time. It came to my understanding is now through the approval, we've got everything worked through the Fair Board, and that was the longest piece. And all of a sudden, the county raises their hand and says, "Hey, wait a minute." So, what's our wishes over here from the county?
I guess you got me again. So as we looked through the preliminary plat, and I know for me personally, the first time I saw the preliminary plat is when it ended up in the board packet. And we kind of saw road names, all the other fun stuff. I know I expressed to the county commissioners, are you aware that we've got the road that will be really the access to our new green space, our new campus, our new whatever, our future plans. The road name towards that being named after the former city administrator. Are they aware of that, and are they good with that? As we started talking a little bit, it was kind of, no, we don't know how comfortable we are with that. As I've been thinking, and I think only a few of the commissioners heard me say this because I thought of this morning, if our issue is the road name, well, the county is going to build the road, and the county is going to maintain the road, which means it's going to have a county road number anyway. If for the platting purposes, we keep the name that's on the plat, but for addressing purposes, we address it off the county road, does that not solve our issues with what our address ends up being? And I don't know that we need an answer now, but I think that might be some way to resolve
I've
it.
never looked at any of that before. No disrespect, I mean, by any means, but it's, I think Webb's put them in there, I would imagine, 20 years ago. How many years ago? 30? No, I mean, because we've changed that, I mean, we vacated some roads and stuff since then and all, this is why, and when that was brought up to me, and what did you know, because remember, I was sitting on this thing 13, 14 years ago, and and then when we got together and got some of this stuff all taken care of so we could sell the land, buy the land, and do all this stuff, we vacated some things, and I didn't even think about road names or anything.
Go ahead.
Oh, they want to hear you, Mike. Yeah, I'm not tossing this. That gets me in trouble.
I think Tim's suggestion is an excellent one. Today, if this road is going to function as a county road, you're going to give it a county road number, county stated highway number probably. And if we have signs very similar to what we have on County Road 82 or County Road 46, where those also have street names. So County Road 82 is 3rd Avenue, signed all over the place as 3rd Avenue, and 46 is signed as McKay when it's running north and south, and it's 34th when it's running east and west. And so if this platted street winds up with an address, pick whatever your number is going to be, number 10, County Road 10, and has a street sign name that refers to it as Taddy Drive or Taddy Lane, I think that satisfies everybody.
Any more questions?
So we're good?
We haven't shook on it yet, but we're good.
Here, Shane.
I'm just looking at you and Charlie.
I didn't know we even had names on it, that's bad.
Well,
Couldn't remember, you know what I mean, it was so long ago.
And again, and that's the beauty of this group meeting twice a year. Maybe it should be 3 times a year, but these are things that are going on within our district, our county, and the importance of it. So,
Well, with the LGCC committee, at least we do meet about 10 times or 11 times a year, and that if we get into a match, at least we do see each other a little more often.
All right. I'm going to move to close this because we have our regular meeting after this, but I appreciate y'all coming early. We can get done. And thank you for coming. Thank you for the information. And we're going to take about a 5-minute break and start our county commissioner meeting. Thank you.
Thank you.
Plan, Tim.
Oh, and I wasn't informed.
Well, you were talking.
care of me.
She's really good. Oh, yeah, yeah.
All right, you got the computer on, Lenny?
Was that last though, was that?
All right, I'd like to call the meeting back in session. We did have it going. At this time, I'd like to approve the agenda. Lene, please.
Mr. Chair, there's only one addition on informational item, the 2025 Department of Human Services Fiscal Reporting Performance. We're starting with Resolution 2641 today.
Motion to approve.
I'll second.
Thanks, Jerry. Thanks, Jeff. Any other comments? Lene, please.
Rapp.
Yes.
Way. Meyer.
Yes.
Schmidt.
Yes.
Kalina.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. At this time, I need to get the minutes approved. Any additions or corrections to the minutes? Can I get a motion, please?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
Thanks, Tim. Thanks, Charlie. Lene, please.
Way. Meyer. Schmidt.
Yes.
Kalina.
Yes.
Rapp.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Mr. Chair.
Go ahead.
Lene, are the monitors aren't turned on?
Oh, no.
It's up there.
Thank you. We good?
Well, we can read off the paper, I guess, if the monitors aren't gonna work.
Right. Well, we'll keep moving. I'm sure she can get working on them. But I received this email from the Department of Human Services, and it was addressed to the chair, Mr. Shane Schmidt, Douglas County Board of Commissioners, and I'd like to read it. Dear Commissioner Schmidt, it is my pleasure to commend you and your staff for perfect performance in meeting the Department of Human Services financial reporting requirements for calendar year 2025. All key quarterly and fiscal reports for programs your county participates in were submitted to our Financial Operation Division on or before the reported deadline in perfect order. This effort required submission of 32 major reports and covering 4 calendar quarters for 2025. If your county participates in local, submission of this report may require the collection of multiple local partners for consolidation and submission to DHS. I know this accomplishment requires planning and efficient operation and teamwork with your county human service department. The result is timely revenue for your county and compliance with federal reporting for us at the state. Please congratulate your staff and their superb effort. Sincerely, Sheena Gandhi, Commissioner. So thank you. Very good job. I would
I think we need
assume.
to give them a round of applause.
I agree. I didn't think you were expecting to hear that today, were you, Tabitha? And Jill? That was really nice of them. I just got it the other day, so I talked to Lee, and we need to compliment our staff whenever we can, so thank you very much. All right, at this time, Vicki Doling, you auditor treasurer.
All right. Good morning, Mr. Chair, members
Morning.
of the board. I've got before you a couple items. First is a gambling permit. This is a resolution allowing the USA Clay Target League to perform a raffle at the Alexandria Shooting Park on June 23rd of this year.
I will make that motion for Resolution 2641, gambling permit to the USA Clay Target League, Inc. raffle action.
I'll second.
Thanks, Jerry. Thanks, Tim. Any discussion? Lene, please.
Kalina.
Yes.
Rapp.
Yes.
Way.
Yes.
Meyer.
Yes.
Schmidt.
Yes.
Motion carries.
And then the next item I have is a consumption and display permit out at Country Blossom Farm. They will be hosting a private event later this year for which they are requesting to obtain this consumption and display permit from the state so that they can legally display and serve other forms of alcohol for a private family wedding. That'll be on their premises. Currently, under their farm winery license, they can only possess and serve their farm-produced intoxicating beverages. So they're just seeking to have other kinds of alcohol for this one private family event of a member of their own family, the people that own the vineyard, so.
Mr. Chair, just a question, to serve themselves or to,
Yes, to provide it for their guests at this wedding.
and provide for the guests?
And they don't qualify,
giving them-
they don't qualify for a one-day temporary license because they're
No,
not
they're
a
not a
charitable event.
501.
Yeah, but they have to buy the full year consumption and display, but they only are obtaining it for this one-time family event.
They're willing, they want to do that for the one time? Okay.
But now with this permit, if they wanted, they could serve other days?
They could only have consumption and display, so meaning other people could bring their beverages. They would, it's like a setup license.
Okay,
They can't sell other alcohols, no.
okay. Well, I'll make a motion to approve the consumption and display permit for a private event at Country Blossom Farm.
I'll second that.
Thanks, Tim. Thanks, Jerry. Any further discussion? Lene, please.
Rapp,
Yes.
Way,
Yes.
Meyer,
Yep.
Schmidt,
Yes.
Kalina.
Yes.
Motion carries.
All right, that's all I
Thank
got.
you. At this time, I'd like to call up Missy Becker with West Central Minnesota Communities Action. I should say Missy Becker Cook.
Good morning, Chairman Schmidt
morning.
and members. I have with me Joe Niehaus. He's Affordable Housing Director at West Central Community Action. So I'm back to talk about affordable housing and had a quick presentation a month ago, but had a great meeting in the last month with Lee Johnson and with Sheriff Olberson, which I greatly appreciate the partnership with Douglas County. So the issue, I have two things I want to talk about. The first issue is the increase to the cost of the crew members staying at the jail. So that increases our cost $25 per inmate per day. And if you remember, a year ago, I came and asked to split it with the commissioners, with the county, and which was approved. So that's what I'm asking again today. And I understand that it costs more. Everything costs more. Food costs more. Lights, electricity, heat, it all costs more. So, so that was my first ask, I guess. And then the second item, I was going to just talk about an idea that we've done in Grant County with affordable housing and a partnership with the county. So we've built to date 75 homes in Douglas County. And you know, we've remodeled courthouse in this building and many others in the county as well, and we very much appreciate the partnership. Any questions for me?
Mr. Chair, I do have one little question. Do you recall what the square footage cost of those houses ended up being?
Oh, not offhand, I
All right.
don't.
We could give you an example though. We just had, we have a house for sale in Miltona in the new development when you come into town on the right. And that house appraised for,
Miltona, 375,000,
and we're gonna be able to sell it for approximately.
approximately 220 to 230,000.
Okay, what was the square footage on that?
1547.
1547.
So we've brought in just under $800,000 in subsidy to Douglas County in the form of, you know, then this community land trust home, the subsidy stays with the house for, you know, for going forward to keep it affordable.
It's about 226 square foot.
Did you
All right.
run that off the appraisal value?
I
or
was
the
just curious
cost?
what cost.
Yeah, but it was appraisal, or did you use the cost?
I used,
Okay.
yeah.
And the cost is because we're bringing in subsidy from Minnesota.
Correct.
Just so you know. Yeah.
Mr. Chair, I visited with Missy here last week. We talked about this at some length. They do a tremendous amount of good in the entire county. I did talk with Sheriff Warburson in respect for his budget and everything else, is how he reminded me. Because I believe we should give this organization probably the discount because of all the work they do in our county. At the $75 rate, the $25 a day. It'll affect Troy's budget, he told me up to $55,000. As long as we understand what we're doing with him and we don't use that against him, he's okay. So I would make that a motion.
So then the county would pick up the difference?
Well, we're not picking it up, but we're not
Help
paying
him
it.
with his budget, I mean.
Well, yeah, I just figure he can be 55 under his normal budget, that's all. No, we already had that conversation, yes, in respect to his budget, we won't hold that against Troy by any means. We'll hold it against Missy.
I'll second that. Any further discussion on that? Good. Lene, please.
Way,
Yes.
Meyer,
Yes.
Schmidt,
Yes.
Kalina,
Yes.
Rapp.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Missy, I got a question for you. I was talking to the mayor of Garfield, and they have some property and they want to do some stuff. Have they talked with you, or is anybody?
Not at this time.
I
no.
talked to him yesterday, and he said Nicole was working on that, Fernholz. Maybe you want to talk to her, because they've got some land and they want to put in some low-income houses. They want to donate it to do that.
Sure.
So you want to check into that?
Price is right
absolutely.
for the land.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, talk to
Three lots
Nicole.
are our best
He talked to
option.
Nicole.
Okay. The other thing I just wanted to bring up, no decision or anything, but I just wanted to put it in your heads to think about it in the future, is something we did with Grant County is Grant County awarded $100,000 for down payment assistance for new affordable houses. And when we first were going to look at this, we were going to try and buy houses that needed some rehab work, use the crew to do the rehab work, and then resell them and put them in the community land trust. Well, Joe and I had several appointments to go look at houses, and they were always sold by the time we got there, because the county had some stipulations that they had to be on the market for 30 days. So that didn't work, so they asked about new affordable houses. So we're working on our second one in Ashby. The first one was built in Elbow Lake. And in the situation in Elbow Lake, so we brought like almost $100,000 subsidy from Minnesota Housing, and then we topped it off with another $50,000 down payment assistance from the county. And I mean, that made that house, I mean, I think her loan, she had some down money too, but
Payment assistance.
yeah.
I think overall our mortgage was about $115,000.
Yeah, and it was beautiful, slab on grade, 3-bed, 2-bath house. And, you know, it's just, they used ARPA dollars, so they had extra money to do that, and which was great. But if it's ever something that, you know, you would think about pursuing or wanting more information or anything, we'd be happy to. Even $25,000 down payment assistance would be an amazing contribution, you know, so if you get hit up with some more money and you're looking for ways, we'd be happy to
Get
partner.
that price at the jail up where it belongs.
Just a thought. I just wanted to bring it up and tell you what we were doing over in Grant, so.
Well, maybe
All
the financial committee can look into that.
Yeah.
Anything else I can answer, or?
No?
Thanks again. We appreciate it.
Thank you. Jake Turner, Veteran Services. I hear you. Hello. Good morning, Jake.
Morning.
How's it going, everybody? So today I've come before you just to kind of talk about the numbers we've seen the last year, and then compare those to numbers in 2024, just to kind of give you guys an idea of what we're doing at the office. So For the sake of time, I'll make it pretty quick. I won't go over every number, but if you have questions, I'd be happy to answer them. So total expenditure from the VA, and these are all numbers reported by the VA, and they're reported about 6 months shy. So it's not encompassing all of 2025, but it does give us a good indication of where we're at. So total expenditure is 45 million. 19 of that is from comp and pen. So that's the money the VA is actually paying out to veterans and their spouses. And then there's a couple other categories. The other biggest one would be medical care. So the VA in 2025 fiscal year paid out $25 million in medical care, which is a $5 million increase from 2024. The other thing to keep note of here is in 2025 or 2024, comp and pen was also $19 million. So the number actually went down a little bit, about $157,000, which means that veterans are passing away, especially if you take that number in light of the $5 million increase for medical care. So, and we're expecting a pretty big drop in veteran population in our area because most of the veterans in our area are Vietnam era veterans. So I expect those numbers to keep increasing in their like ways. So the next slide would be the interactions that we had. Those are in 2025. The big ones to keep in mind here are the office visits, the phone calls, the electronic communications, and then of course the van riders. I figured you guys want to know how many rides we gave out in 2025. So office visits, Lene, can you go to the next slide for them? Office visits is 1276. It's actually a minus of 328. So we had less office visits in 2025 than we did in 2024, but we had more phone calls. We had 405 more phone calls, so we had 2,605 compared to 2,215. And then we also had more electronic communications. So they went up about 86, but what that is showing me is that veterans are getting more and more electronically focused. In fact, I can count off the number of times in the past week that I've sent forms to get digital signatures instead of having veterans come into the office, which is helping with office flow. And then last but not least would be the van riders. As you can see, it's 125, and this kind of correlates back to the medical care, or the money that the VA is paying out for medical care, is we had an increase in van riders. Not substantially, but we had 23 more rides in 2025 than we did in 2024. So, any questions?
Mr. Chair, I just have a question. Jake, up there on fax, do you still use fax machines?
It's a digital fax.
Oh.
Brent set it up, it's through the email. So
Okay.
it's not an actual fax machine.
All right. I do have one more question, and that is regarding the Broadway project that they're going to be talking about putting that median in. Is that, do you see any effect on the Veterans Park with that being done?
I don't know, to be honest.
Why don't you just check with that, and make sure that there's nothing affecting the Veterans Park? Because
I'm sorry, Mr. Chair. Yeah, they're not putting the median in front of Veterans Park. They did if you read the one story in the paper or online or whatever about that stretch between 8th and 9th isn't going to have the median.
Okay.
And they're
Well,
keeping the
that's
parallel
good.
parking.
That's
there.
good.
They're gonna and they can on-street park there.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I will say,
They made that exception for the park.
Okay. And I was gonna say, just a reminder too, we just handle the admin side of the park. The city handles the physical side of the park.
Yeah, but I just think the veterans have got something to say about that.
Oh, I'm 100% sure
All
they
right.
will. So.
Thank you.
But yeah, apparently nothing's changing, so that's a plus.
Great.
All right.
Thanks, Jake. Any
Yeah.
questions for Jake?
Sounds
We're
good.
good?
Have a good one, guys. Appreciate it.
Rodney Nab, Facilities Director. Morning, Rod.
Good morning. I'm looking for approval to have a new boiler installed in Public Works. We currently have two, and they are a maintenance nightmare and very unreliable. They always seem to fail at the worst time, you know, it's 10 below. And we would like to install a 1 million BTU condensing boiler. It's much more efficient and would be reliable, and then we can use parts from the other one to keep the other one going for a few years, hopefully. So,
How old is this one that's in there?
when did we say?
2010, wasn't it?
2009?
Nine
Yeah.
or 10?
Not very old is what we talked about the other day. Rod and I had a visit about a boiler.
Because there's two of them in there. And in case one would go down, we figured we'd have an extra one.
Yeah,
You know,
I'm telling you, then you shouldn't have bought it in the first
Shouldn't
place.
have bought
If
it
you
in
gotta
the
buy
first
two to make sure one runs, you've already got a problem. I don't know.
This is coming out of Tim's budget?
Yeah, no, it's coming out of mine.
It's Rod. I'll make a motion that we go ahead and purchase one new boiler, I guess.
I'll second that.
Thanks, Charlie. Thanks, Tim. Any further discussion?
Yeah, Mr. Chair, we only have one proposal. Are we supposed to have at least 3 proposals?
So we went through Sourcewell, which is a government program that Johnson Controls. Jill, can you help me out too? It's basically a procurement program for government agencies. So if you go through Sourcewell, you only have to get one bid.
Go ahead, Jill.
Yeah, so this is fairly new to us, but any county, city, I think municipality can join Sourcewell. So basically, in a nutshell, Sourcewell did an RFP that was published. A variety of vendors applied and submitted proposals. And then Sourcewell went through and rated those proposals, and Johnson Controls was rated number 1 on the RFP that was done. So basically, it's very similar to the state bid procurement list that the state of Minnesota does. It takes the legwork out of us having to go and get bids from 3 different vendors if we use the vendor that was rated.
Isn't that the same where we can go through state to buy vehicles as well? That's
Yep.
kind of how it's set up.
It's a really good question.
But it's a good question.
And I did, just for clarification too, we did run a question by our auditors regarding this, if this covered us for audit purposes, and they said it did. Because I wanted to make
That's the
sure.
first thing you asked, I know that.
Thank you. Anyone else got any other questions? Good question. Lene, please.
Schmidt,
Yes.
Kalina,
Yes.
Rapp,
Yes.
Way,
Yes.
Meyer.
Yes.
Motion carries.
There you go. Thank you.
Thank you.
Tim, Public Works Director.
Thank you
You
guys.
know,
for
with all the
boiler.
meetings we have over in Public Works, maybe it'll warm up in the back room because it is pretty cold there in the winter.
My understanding it is because
It is.
of that running at 25% capacity. So last Wednesday, we opened bids for some maintenance contracts. First one we looked at is our liquid chloride. So this is our dust control. We did get 2 bidders put in. Our low bid was Crow River Construction. They actually did our application the last 2 years. They've done a fantastic job. So I'd make that recommendation that we award our liquid chloride bid to Crow River Construction.
I'll make a motion to approve the liquid chloride bid.
A second.
Thanks, Jeff. Any questions?
I got a question. How does this compare to last year as far as price?
Our price this is actually quite a bit higher. Our price last year, I believe, was $1.55.
That's what I thought. It was about
It's in
25
that
cents a
range.
gallon difference.
Yes.
That's all I got.
Okay, good. Call for the question.
Kalina.
Yes.
Rapp.
Reluctant, yes.
Way. Way.
Yes.
Meyer.
Yes.
Schmidt.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. The next one was our 2026 striping. Usually we only have one bidder on this one. We lucked out. We had three. Camco actually did our HSIP striping, our district-wide contract last summer. They did a great job with that. They were great to work with. So I'll make that recommendation. We award this to Camco.
So move.
I'll second it.
Thanks, Charlie. Thanks, Tim. Any questions? Lene, please.
Rapp.
Yes.
Way.
Yes.
Meyer.
Yes.
Schmidt.
Yes.
Kalina.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Next item that I have is to approve advertising for bids. This is for SP 021090005. This is the trail on County Road 46 that we talked about a little bit earlier this morning. If awarded or if approved, excuse me, we would set the bid opening date as Monday, May 18th, so that we can get this put to your May 19th board meeting.
Make a motion, we advertise for bids for the path on McCab and County Road 46.
Thanks, Charlie. Thanks, Jeff. Any questions? Lene, please.
Way.
Yes.
Meyer.
Yes.
Schmidt.
Yes.
Kalina.
Yes.
Rapp.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Next item that we have, I'm going to have Brad come on up and answer any questions for you. We're just looking for the approval to continue to run that trio treats at Lahamadou Beach. I think it's been 3 years.
Yep, this will be her third year. In the packet, we included just a statement from her. They're not making any real money there, but it's something for her and her kids to do for a summer job, and they're going to be open every day in June and July. They do pretty well. August, it completely falls off a cliff, so she'll be open on the weekends. Unless the weekends are kind of cold and rainy, then she probably won't be open, just people are aware.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second it, but I got a question. Does she run out of a vehicle or does she run out of the
Out of the concession
Out
stand
of the
there, yep.
concession stand, okay.
Yeah, so it used to be the lifeguard concession stand, so she's
Okay.
taking that over and running.
So she's got freezers and stuff that she supplies?
Yep, she supplies, she brings in freezers. She's got a freezer and then a fridge that she brings in and then sells packaged goods, basically. Ice cream, pop, candy.
Okay.
We don't charge her any rent.
Yep, we charge her $100 a month.
Oh.
Yep, so we get $300 out of it. And she has her financial, she submits every year if you guys want to take a look at it, but
No, that's fine. It's more
Yep.
electricity than anything.
It's-
It's
she covers-
still convenient to have someone out there.
Yep.
When the city moved City Park out there 30-some years ago, they built a nice concession stand. I think even First Amendment ran it for a few years, or Viking Coke or whatever it was called. That concession stand still stands. That's that little block building over there and stuff. But she's got to bring her equipment in there because there's not any equipment.
Yeah, it's not set up for that, but yeah, she covers her cost of our electricity. It's nice to have eyes down there too. We've
yeah.
had some vandalism issues earlier when, because it's blocked from the highway.
Always going to have vandalism.
Yep, so you can't see, so it's nice having her there because she kind of keeps people, she's the mom down there, it helps.
So she can lock it up then when,
Yeah, she locks it,
Yep.
she locks the keys, she has keys for her area, locks it up each night.
okay.
Okay. Any other discussion? Jerry and Tim did that. Thank you. Lene, please.
Meyer.
Yes.
Schmidt.
Yes.
Kalina.
Yes.
Rapp.
Yes.
Way.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Next item, we were looking for a resolution to support art in Brophy Park. And Brad, do you want to talk to him a little bit about this?
Yep, so last year we had Art in the Park through the Legacy Amendment. We were one of the pilot places in the state of Minnesota to do this program. And we got a mural up in Brophy Park, that mosaic mural that went inside the bathrooms. And then we got the the arbor over the mountain bike trail entrance. And then there was public art classes too, that people took the art they created home. This would just be a continuation of that. So last year was us, and then Granite Falls were the pilot program. And they're moving the pilot programs around the state to 3 different locations. But we were asked to, if we wanted to, we could fill out a grant to try to do it again, provide the program again at Brophy Park. So this is what this is. No match from the county. It'd just be, we'd put in for $25,000 about to pay the artists and materials to come into Brophy Park and run programming during the day.
I'll make a motion to approve Resolution 2642, supporting art in Brophy Park.
Second.
Is that resolution 43?
42 is correct.
42.
42 is correct, okay. Thank you, just confirming. Any other questions? Thank you, gentlemen. Lene, please.
Schmidt,
Yes.
Kalina,
Yes.
Rapp,
Yes.
Way,
Yeah.
Meyer.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you, Brad.
Thanks, Brad.
So the next item that we have is to approve an access easement agreement between Lake Christina and Lake Anka. And so Pat was actually, let's see, they've contacted you through the attorneys, and that's kind of why it's here for us now.
Yeah, Vicki and I have been working on this. We wanted to make sure they had access to a township road, which is about a half mile or 3/4 of a mile south. There is existing easement up to the property. They had 2 judgments to get those easements. They're only 12 feet wide for the road, so it's kind of a hodgepodge of easements through all those properties. So, but they needed access through this county, or I'm not sure if it's county or state property, but the county will sign off on it as for an easement for those 2 properties. So.
Yeah, it is tax forfeit land, so when you look into the easement agreement, one of the first things in there, so it's the state's tax forfeit land. The county gets to administer it for the state on behalf of the state. So that's why this is coming to the county board for an easement.
It's tax forfeited to us, isn't it, or is it? No,
So it-
still got, is it inside that marshland?
It is, well, you can see.
Yeah, I
smack-
know where
yeah,
Christie is. Yeah, I
Smack in
know what
between the
it is.
2.
Yeah.
So
Okay, so it is basically state then?
it is tax forfeit.
Okay. Normally when it's tax forfeit, it goes to the county.
Yeah.
Not to the state.
That's what Vicky's doing back there. Sorry, Vicky.
She left. Not back there.
She's not back there. She ran away at the right
She did.
time.
She knew this was coming
She's the
up.
one that could answer that question. For
Well, that's
what that
fine.
is, but
Whatever. I'm just saying.
It works down to us.
Like I said, I can see it's quite convoluted in the first place.
A tad.
I can see why you've been at it a long time.
Yeah.
So, Mr. Chair, I got a question for Tim. That green section there that goes across the state land, that's their only access to them 2 properties?
That's what the easement is, yes.
Yeah, access those 2 properties.
Correct.
So they will be responsible for building that road then?
That is in the, yes.
Okay.
So I was just going to ask you, Pat, on that road, why don't you run it along the property line instead of going diagonal across?
That's basically where they have the roads ready.
Oh, it's already there?
Yeah, they probably have a prescriptive easement that they are ready, but they're trying to clean it up, so.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, I guess, I think Vicki left to find out if that lake was named after the old singer, Paul Anka.
We shouldn't laugh at that.
You'd have to be older to get that one.
Board's wishes?
I'll make a motion to approve the access easement agreement for Lake Christina, Lake Anka.
I'll second that.
Further discussion?
And we can do that in behalf of the state.
That's our understanding.
Yep, we can. Okay, that's all. Very good.
Is it going to pass the audit inspection? Lene, please.
Kalina,
Yes.
Rapp,
Yes.
Way,
Yeah.
Meyer,
Yes.
Schmidt.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Pat.
Okay, thank you.
Next item that I have is to approve hiring an additional seasonal employee. So our budget does typically every summer have space for one seasonal engineering technician. We usually don't get any applicants. This year we had 2. As we have work between the engineering side of things, the survey side of things, I'd like to bring them both on. So I talked with HR, we've talked a little bit with Jill in finance and figured out, can we do this? We do have a slot set up for this additional space, this additional employee. It would just be for this year. So next year's budget, I'm still gonna have 1 seasonal technician and hope we can fill it.
Mr. Chair, both of these would end up in engineering then.
It'll be between engineering and survey.
In
yes.
survey. Okay.
I think it's great. We have the interest. I'll make that motion that we do it.
I'll
It's nice
second
to
it.
see it after what we've gone through the last few years. That's
Well,
for sure.
It's nice to get him involved, so I'll second it.
Thank you.
Just got a motion by Charlie, second by me. Any other further discussion? Lene, please.
Rapp,
Yes.
Way,
Yes.
Meyer,
Yes.
Schmidt,
Yes.
Kalina.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you very much. Next item is to approve the Summer Sounds by Brophy 2026 schedule and permit. Who do we have back here yet? I don't know if you guys were leaving me.
He's coming back up.
He's coming back up. There you go.
Yeah, they, pretty straightforward. I mean, we've done this a couple of years now. They've gone through the emergency management plan with Julie and permitting, and we were waiting to clean up Julie, we were waiting for the sheriff's posse.
Sheriff's posse is figured out and waiting on first response.
We would have brought it a little earlier, but we're waiting on a few of those details to get, so we could put it in their emergency management plan.
Makes sense.
The one change this year from last year is they'll be coming, they're gonna move it up a week. So it'll start the Tuesday after the 4th of July, and it'll run the 4 Tuesdays in July. We've always, the last 3 years, it's ended the first week in August, but it's gonna move up 1 week this year. So that'll be the one change that you'll see from previous years.
Yeah, 7th it starts. 7, 14, 21, 28.
Board?
I'll make the motion to approve Summer Sounds by Brophy 2026 schedule permit.
Second.
Thanks, Tim. Thanks, Jerry. Any discussion?
Way,
Yes.
Meyer,
Abstain.
Schmidt,
Yes.
Kalina.
Yes.
Rapp.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Thank you, Brad.
Thank you, guys.
Last item that I have for the board is to approve our drainage and ag annual report. And so I've got Shane coming up here. He's going to read the whole thing cover to cover. Yeah. No, he's going to touch on just a couple of projects that he has going on to make sure that you guys are all aware of that. And then we'll ask for approval to sign.
Yeah, so I'll keep it short. A couple things in here that I just want to update you guys on is that Lake Osakis outlet modification project. So we did receive a CPL grant from the state. So the total of that was $390,150, and then the Lake Osakis Lake Association added funds of $43,350. So the total project cost of $433,500. So there'd be no additional funding needed from the Drainage Authority for that project. And Houston Engineering is in charge of that project and doing the engineering and the design. They're still doing a little bit of surveying out there, and so everything right now is preliminary, but on page 12 of that report, I just attached a little picture of you can kind of see the general plan that they have for what they're proposing. Rock Arch Rapids and replacing them dams, that's on the west side of that box culvert there. And that's just to allow for fish passage and stabilizing the lake levels. So just wanted you to be aware that we did receive that. They're not anticipating the start of the project, possibly fall 26, if not fall 26, 2027. So
They don't plan on getting this one done?
they're not sure.
Is Houston done?
What's that?
Is Houston Engineering?
Yes, yep,
It should be done.
yep.
They're the ones that make.
Yeah, they just weren't sure when the start date would be. It would either be 2026 or 2027. Yep, yep. And then,
Really help.
so then just the other update I had for you was we also received a county ag inspector grant as well. That amount awarded was $10,300. And basically all that's doing is just reimbursing us for some of the eligible expenses, inspection, reinspection, noxious weeds, public-private lands, enforcement of the noxious weed laws, training and assisting local weed inspectors, attending meetings, hosting meetings for local weed inspectors, development of noxious weed programs, and there's a few other things on there too, but basically we just submit our receipts or timesheets and they reimburse us for the costs.
Yeah, those details Shane was reading off are on page 25.
So yeah, them are the two updates I had for you. If there's any other questions, I'd be happy to answer them. If not, just looking for approval for the report.
I'll make a motion to approve the report.
Second.
Thanks, Charlie. Thanks, Jerry. Any further discussion? Lene, please.
Meyer,
Yes.
Schmidt,
Yes.
Kalina,
Yes.
Rapp,
Yes.
Way,
Yes.
motion carries.
Thank you.
Thanks for the
Mr. Chair,
report.
can we get a signature on page 2 on one of your hard copies? I put 2 hard copies up there for you.
Mr. Chair, I got a question. Last meeting we had, we decided on abandonment of that section of ditch. Have you done anything on that?
Yes, so I spoke with John Kolb yesterday, and kind of the short answer is the Drainage Authority can petition for abandonment as long as we are a benefiting owner on the ditch system.
Okay,
And we believe because of the roads,
right.
we are a benefited landowner.
So we don't have to have a hearing on that?
Well, you would still need the hearing. We
Okay.
can do the petition
The petition?
because we are a beneficiary.
Okay,
So we can go forward with putting together the petition to the Drainage Authority. We'll still need that public hearing. We'll have to follow that process.
okay,
But we can do it.
okay.
Yep, so the petition would have to come from the Drainage Authority, but we'd still have to go through the same process.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks. David Rush, Land and Resource.
Good morning. All right, I only have 4 things
That's okay.
that I'm hoping are not complicated.
Us too.
Yeah. The first one is landscaper excavator license, a single license. We recommend approval of that license.
I make a motion to approve the license for landscaper.
Second.
Thanks, Jeff. Thanks, Jerry. Any discussion? Lene, please.
Schmidt,
Yes.
Kalina,
Yes.
Rapp,
Yes.
Way,
Yes.
Meyer,
Yes.
motion carries.
So the next 2 items I have for you are low potency hemp edible sales registration. These, you can take them together individually, your choice. They are for 2 municipal on and off sale liquor stores. This would be the Millerville and Miltona. They've met all of the requirements that we had in our ordinance and properly completed the registration applications. So they simply need your approval, and then they will be registered for low potency hemp edible sales.
So Dave, I got a question. Do they have to set this up separate inside the store, or they can just put it behind the counter just like anything else and sell it over the counter?
So just to clarify again, this is low potency, so
Right.
it's under considerably less regulation.
Correct.
It's just like when you would walk into their liquor store, there'll be beer, there'll be liquor, there'll be THC beverages, or there'll be beer, there'll be liquor, there'll be gummies. There are certain requirements that they have to meet, but anybody entering that store and purchasing has to be 21. They have some other requirements, but it's not the same sort of standards as the adult recreational cannabis where it has to be completely separate from tobacco and liquor sales and everything else.
So with that being said, they both have off sale and on sale. They can go either or on this, or it has to be sold in-house?
I believe they both have on and off sale.
No, I know they do, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
so they would be registered, and since
Either way.
they also have liquor licenses, they can serve low-potency hemp edibles in their on
Okay.
sale.
Mr. Chair, are they changing the name to Miltona Sky High Liquor Store?
No, I believe the names are as listed.
All right.
Millerville is closer to the peak for that. But, Mr. Chair,
Dave.
yeah, I know.
Oh.
Is this being registered now with you or with Verizon?
It is the registration process that we set up, so there is an MOA with
Did they give
Verizon.
us their permission? Because these are two munis. Why
Yep.
are they going through us?
Great question.
Okay,
Which was a great question for them too,
yeah.
because they went and got licensed by the state. We were notified, and then I sent both of them a letter saying, please register. Millerville contacted me and said, I don't understand. And I said, you delegated your registration authority to Douglas County, and therefore you now fall under our jurisdiction, even though it is a city-run liquor store and on-sale facility. They picked that up pretty quickly and so followed through with their registration. So yes, they
Miltona had delegated the authority.
they caused this to happen, yes.
Yeah, they did it to themselves.
Correct.
You could have not had to worry about that.
Correct. So I'm looking for a motion to approve the registrations for City of Millerville and City of Miltona municipal liquor stores.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I got a second?
I'll second it.
Thanks, Charlie. Thanks, Tim. Any further discussion?
Yeah, Mr. Chair, I got a question. I mean, if this is a municipal city, then, I mean, why do we have to put our vote on it?
As I just explained, Mr. Chair, we allowed in our ordinance that municipalities, townships, they could all delegate their registration authority to the county. And the cities of Millerville and Miltona, City of Nelson just did it a month ago. Kensington has done it. Brandon, I don't remember if Evansville, but anyway, they have all delegated their authority to us to register retail sales establishments within their jurisdiction. It just so happens that the first registrations that we've received from these two jurisdictions were the municipal liquor store. So they gave us the authority and then did something that required that we act on it.
Any more questions? Lene, please.
Kalina,
Yes.
Rapp,
Yes.
Way,
Yes.
Meyer,
Yes.
Schmidt.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. All right, the next item I have for you is the final plat of Legacy Landing. This is a one-lot plat in Carlos Township. It's just south of Carlos Corners. You'll probably be familiar with it. It is a mini storage facility on a larger parcel. The owner is seeking to subdivide it, and I think he intends to sell that business with this property. They met all of the requirements that we have for a plat, as well as the requirements that we placed on the preliminary plat. So we recommend approval of the final plat for recording.
Mr. Chair, if I could ask David, is that what kind of, is it going to be on-site sewers?
It is located within the sewer district, so it is their authority whether or not any wastewater generating facility would connect. We did, the county did grant a variance for them not to have to provide a connection to this lot through the plating process, because currently there are no wastewater generating facilities on the property. If in the future they build an office and put a bathroom in it, then it'll be up to ALASD whether or not they have to connect.
That makes sense. I'll make a motion to approve the final plot for Legacy Landing.
A second.
Any further discussion? Lene, please.
Rapp,
Yes.
Way,
Yes.
Meyer,
Yes.
Schmidt,
Yes.
Kalina.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Excellent, thank you. The last item I have for you is the final plat of Chainview Estates. This is a 51-lot subdivision located in Carlos Township off of County Road 11. They are proceeding through the infrastructure development process. The road, ditches, sewer infrastructure has all been installed. They are needing to complete some earth moving, final grading, as well as put the final wear coat on the road that will become a township road. They have submitted to us a set of declarations. Within the declarations, they're meeting all of the requirements that we had on the preliminary plat. And then in addition, in order to move to final plat, they are seeking to enter into a development contract with the county so that we can ensure that the remaining work is completed, and they've provided us financial security to guarantee that that work will be done and that we can hold on to for a period of time for a warranty on that work. So there would be two steps that I'm looking for here. The first is an approval of the final plat for recording, and the second would be, and you can take them in whatever order you want, the second would be to agree to enter into the development contract with the developer. And probably you should do the development contract first, I suppose, and then approve the final plat. Happy to answer any questions that you have about the.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, does it spell out where they have to, do have something to deal with softener discharge? Water softener discharge?
Yes, in the Common Interest Community Declarations, there's a section in there that requires that they either have to have an on-site softener backwash or use a no-salt system in the homes or water-using facilities in the development.
Thank you.
Dave, I got another question. Are they only having one road going into this development?
Mr. Chair, if you look, if we go back to the plat, there's actually a through road, which is something we often don't get to have here in Douglas County, but you can see the north-south road connects to, comes off of 11 at the south, and then connects to an existing township road to the north. There is the cul-de-sac that heads to the northwest.
Got that.
We did hear from the neighboring property owner to the west during the public hearing, and he, at some point, is likely to develop his property and would seek to come into that northwest corner with a road, or might come in somewhere on the west side there. You can see about, halfway down that north-south road, there actually is a 66-foot wide extension of that Outlot B. So if that Outlot B gets developed in the future, we would then require that that road go to the west property line.
Is that cul-de-sac big enough now to get trucks turning around so we're not backing into driveways and?
That cul-de-sac meets the county's road standards for a cul-de-sac on a township road.
In other words, no.
The standards are the standards.
I think
Has
as
the
we,
township agreed to do this with the roads?
I think it's 120-foot diameter.
Yeah, I don't know what it is offhand, but yes, the township has no issues with these roads. We'll get a final acceptance from them when the wear code is put on. I don't know if our engineer has left the building. Yeah, the engineer signed off on these roads, so they either meet the county standard
get
for a
that,
township
but-
road or they don't. So
but as you know what business I'm in, besides garbage trucks, we have UPS trucks, FedEx trucks. They all go in there, school buses,
They'll
then
be
they go in
plenty
there, then they back in people's driveway. That guy calls and says, you back in my driveway again, I'm gonna sue you. So what we're creating is a monster that I think we need to take a look at.
So,
In
and
my
Mr. Chair,
opinion.
I can't disagree with you on that. That would be something that we'd need to take up when the county engineer revises those road standards. What most townships have been doing is rather than creating the cul-de-sac, they do a hammerhead turnaround. That seems to work a lot better.
Yeah, I agree.
Mr. Chair, one more thing. You were saying that a neighbor would develop his property. How many acres does that involve?
I don't know his acreage offhand, but that's, not something related to this. Just wanted to make you aware because the chair had asked about connecting roads. Don't know when or if that's going to happen.
And then he'd probably go out to 34, County Road 34.
Correct. It would be about a half mile to 34 from that west property line.
All right.
So again, I need approval to enter into the developer agreement, and then if you see fit to approve the final plat for recording.
So, Mr. Chair, just to be clear here, that concern you had about that turnaround, is that something that we can still double check and make sure it's adequate for the trucks and services that go down that road?
Well, I think at this point, our standard is already there and they met it. I think we need to talk to our engineer and talk about maybe re-looking at making it bigger or whatever we need to do, correct?
That is
Isn't it?
correct. At this point, it would be
So, next week-
disingenuous for the county to change the standard that they're requiring when the road's been constructed.
Next week, Jerry, you and I are meeting with Tim, so let's
Yep.
bring that up.
Yep.
I'll make a note.
I can't read the fine print there, but if it says a diameter there in the cul-de-sac.
Yes, it does.
But I can't read it because that would be a half of what the diameter is, so it's.
I think he's got on the preliminary plat, the surveyor is showing 60 feet
Yeah,
would be the,
because it would be 120
yep.
diameter. Because this is showing half of the diameter on there, so it'd be 120-foot diameter.
But again, these aren't the engineering plans that were submitted to us and approved by the county engineer before they started construction.
60 feet.
Yeah, I couldn't read it.
That's 60.
All right, thank you. Board? We need to make them.
I'll make a motion to approve the Chain View Estates and Developer Contract. That's 161,952.
Correct?
A second.
Thanks, Tim. Thanks, Jeff. Any further discussion? Lene, please.
Meyer,
Yes.
Schmidt,
Yes.
Kalina,
Yes.
Rapp,
Yes.
Way.
Yes.
Motion carries.
And now, Mr. Chair, I
I'll
need,
make a motion to approve the final plat for Chain View Estates.
Second.
Thanks, Charlie. Any questions? Lene, please.
Way,
Yes.
Meyer, Schmidt,
Yes.
Kalina,
Yes.
Rapp.
Yes.
Motion carries.
and that is all I
Thanks.
have. Thank you, gentlemen.
See you in a little bit.
Yeah, I'm not going anywhere.
Jill, Finance Director.
Good morning. I just have one item today, just looking for a motion to approve bills totaling $1,461,567.41.
I'll make a motion to pay the bills.
Second.
Thanks, Jerry. Thanks, Jeff. Any discussion? Go ahead, Lene.
Meyer.
Yes.
Schmidt.
Yes.
Kalina.
Yes.
Rapp.
Yes.
Way.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. At this time, I'm going to open up the floor for items from the floor. Any items from the floor? Are there any items from the floor? I'll ask one more time, any items from the floor? Hearing none, at this time, we'd like to move into a closed session. The meeting will be closed as permitted by Section 13D.05 Subdivision 3A to evaluate the performance of the following non-elected department heads.
And Mr. Chair, if we could get a motion.
I need a motion to go into closed session.
So move.
Thanks, Jerry.
I'll second.
Thanks, Tim. Lene, please.
Kalina.
Yes.
Rapp.
Yes.
Way.
Yes.
Meyer.
Yes.
Schmidt.
Yes.